Imagine living in a house that shakes on its own. Not from an earthquake, not from construction next door, but from something else. A deep, rhythmic thumping that rattles your windows and makes the floor vibrate beneath your feet. For over a decade, this was the reality for a family in Campbell River, Canada. A mystery so deep that it baffled scientists, terrified a community, and then just vanished. Tonight, we investigate the chilling and completely true story of the moving house. In 2010, on a quiet night in Campbell River, British Columbia, it began. A sudden violent tremor shook a single house. It wasn't an earthquake. No one else in the neighborhood felt it. But for the family inside, it was terrifying. The windows rattled in their frames, the furniture trembled, and a deep, unsettling vibration seemed to rise from the very ground beneath them. This wasn't a one-time event, it was just the beginning. What started as a single tremor soon became a regular occurrence. The house seemed to have a life of its own. The shaking would happen at random intervals, day or night. Sometimes it was a gentle shudder, other times a violent jolt that felt like the house was being lifted and dropped. The residents described it as a living entity, a constant, unpredictable presence in their home. The fear grew with each new tremor. Was the house unstable? Was it going to collapse? They needed answers, so they called in the experts. The first officials to arrive were baffled. Structural engineers inspected the house from top to bottom and found nothing wrong. The foundation was solid, the construction sound. It made no sense, so they called in seismologists. Surely, this had to be some kind of localized seismic activity. The authorities placed sophisticated sensors in and around the property, expecting to pinpoint the source. The report that came back was impossible. The sensors picked up the vibrations, confirming the family's claims. But they detected no earthquake, no tectonic shifts, nothing that could explain the phenomenon. The house was shaking, but officially, nothing was causing it. The mystery deepened when the sensors recorded something else. A strange thumping sound coming from deep underground. It was a rhythmic, pulsing noise, almost like a giant, slow heartbeat beneath the earth. But its origin was a complete enigma. It didn't match any known geological or man-made sounds. The vibrations were real, the sound was real, but the cause was a phantom. For the family living there, this was a new kind of terror. It wasn't just their house. Something was happening under their feet. Soon, the phenomenon wasn't just confined to one house. Neighbors started reporting the same strange vibrations. Their homes would shake at the same time, confirming it wasn't just one family's imagination. The panic began to spread. People started keeping logs, noting the exact times of the tremors. A pattern of fear settled over the community. Testimonies poured in, all describing the same thing: unexplained shaking, a low thumping sound, and a growing sense of dread. For years, this was their new normal. Seismologists were completely stumped. They painstakingly analyzed the data. The vibrations were too localized to be a typical earthquake which sends waves across a wide area. They were also too regular, sometimes occurring multiple times a day. Every time the tremors happened, the National Earthquake Database showed nothing. The experts had to rule out the earthquake hypothesis entirely. This wasn't the planet shifting. It was something else, something focused on this one small corner of Canada. With earthquakes off the table, geologists turned their attention to the ground itself. The area around Campbell River sits on a complex geological node with hidden fault lines and unique rock formations. Could there be a strange, undiscovered anomaly in the Canadian soil? Perhaps a pocket of gas or water moving through an unusual underground channel? They explored every theory, mapping the subterranean landscape. They found anomalies, yes, but nothing that could generate such powerful, specific, and sustained vibrations. The geology of the area was unique, but it didn't hold the key to the mystery. If it wasn't nature, could it be man-made? The investigation shifted to the industrial hypothesis. Campbell River has a history of industry, including logging and paper mills. Investigators looked for any possible source. Was it a new piece of heavy machinery somewhere, covert construction work? A secret underground project? They checked every factory, every construction site, every potential lead. But nothing added up. The timing of the vibrations didn't match any industrial schedules, and the energy required to shake houses from miles away was far greater than anything they could find. Every suspect was cleared. Every lead went cold. And then, as suddenly as it began, it stopped. After 3 years of constant, unexplained shaking, the ground fell silent in 2013. The vibrations ceased. The thumping from below was gone. The residents held their breath, waiting. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. The silence was a relief, but it was also unsettling. Without an explanation, there was no guarantee it wouldn't come back. The community lived in a state of quiet anxiety, wondering if the phantom that haunted their homes was gone for good. For 3 years there was peace, but in 2018, the nightmare returned. The vibrations started again, with the same intensity, the same randomness. The phantom was back. The fear, which had faded into a bizarre memory, came rushing back. The logging of events started anew, the calls to authorities resumed, but this time there was a sense of resignation. The scientists had already tried and failed. They had no new theories, no new tools. All they could do was document the return of the vibrations, adding another strange chapter to an already inexplicable story. This second wave of phenomena continued for another 3 years. The community once again learned to live with the shaking. But in 2021, it came to a final unsettling end. One last powerful shake rattled the neighborhood and then silence. A silence that has lasted to this day. After more than a decade of intermittent terror, the Campbell River vibrations stopped for good, leaving behind more questions than answers. Why did it start? Why did it stop and then return? And why has it now vanished completely? So, what was the official conclusion? There wasn't one. To this day, the Campbell River moving house remains an official mystery. Authorities documented over 12 years of consistent testimonies and physical data, but never identified a cause. In their final reports, they could only state the facts. The vibrations were real, but their source was unknown. They quietly closed the case, leaving the residents with a story that sounds like fiction, but is all too real. What they refused to say, perhaps what they couldn't say, was what they truly suspected. Was it a geological phenomenon so rare it's never been seen before? Or was it something else? Something that defies our current understanding of the world? The story of the moving house of Campbell River is a perfect example of the strange and unexplained events hiding just beneath the surface of our world. It's a reminder that not everything has a neat explanation. If you're fascinated by mysteries like this, hidden in the quiet corners of North America, then you'll love our channel, Best Hidden America. We explore the bizarre, the forgotten, and the unexplained stories that you won't find anywhere else. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next investigation. Thanks for watching.